What's up, my friends? Chrissy Crash here. Welcome to another episode of the Crash Course Roller Derby podcast, or if you are watching us on Facebook Live, hello. Today's conversation is for any skater who has been injured, sidelined, or feels like they are starting over, not just physically, but like mentally also. So if you're someone that you feel like you have had an injury, you feel like you're so behind, this conversation is 100% for you. And then if at the end of this podcast, if you feel like you need some extra support, like putting this stuff together for yourself, there is a link in the show notes or a link down below where you can book a free strategy session with one of our strategy coaches that can help you figure all that stuff out. So today we are speaking with Pippi, who is a deaf skater who knows what it's like to go from injured to confident. And so Pippi is really going to share with you her experience of coming back after surgery, the time off skates. But as you listen, if you're someone who's coming back from injury, I really want you to ask yourself, am I rushing to be cleared, or am I actually rebuilding for the long haul? And I think one of the hardest parts of injury isn't the injury, it's what happens after. It's the deconditioning, it's the doubt, it's the feeling behind. So Pippi, welcome. And so, but before you and I met, like, let's talk a little bit about, where were you physically and mentally coming out of surgery with that time off? Where were you at? How was that for you?
Hold on one sec. I just want. So where was I? Okay, so back in May, I had been skating for, I guess, a year, and how I got there, that's maybe another story. But and I was loving it, and it was amazing. And then I had this, I broke my arm while scrimmaging, and and nothing went like it was supposed to. I had to have surgery. Everything was complicated. Recovery was really a lot. And so the question was, where was I at? And like emotionally, mentally, what?
Yeah, all of that. Like as you were coming out of that, so frustrating. So nothing went the way it was supposed to with the surgery, and now you're coming back out of this. How were you feeling after that time off skates? Like as you're starting to think about coming back, like being like nervous and deconditioned, like how were you feeling?
Yeah, so I'm not, I'm an older skater. I'm in my 50s, and I had some people saying like, so you're not going to go back, right? And like, you wouldn't do this again. And I started to, like, at first, initially when it happened, I was like, absolutely, I'm going to go back and be on skates. When can I do it? And then, and my doctors and stuff were like, really, you need to be off skates for maybe 6 months. I was like, what? Like, oh my gosh. And then I started to doubt myself, like, can I do this? Like, should I do this? And started to listen to some of those people that were like more cautious and like, what are you doing? So, but then as, I was like, okay, my date of coming back is November. But I have not been on skates at all. I have I could barely, it's good now, but like it was, I couldn't even tie my shoes. So thinking like I wasn't really working out. I was really deconditioned and maybe a little scared too.
Yeah. Yeah, it's scary after an injury, right? Because you think, can my arm hold me? Is this going to be okay? Like you have to rebuild that trust with like your own body at the same time. Mm-hmm. What was your biggest fear or frustration of like starting over? Like, was it a fear of being behind? Was it a fear of just not being athletic enough? Or
well, part of the thing too is right in the middle, like 2 weeks before, when I broke my arm, it was 2 weeks before my move to Portland, and my whole plan was to move up to Portland to connect with the Road City Rollers, and like it was going to be, I was gonna do all summer and like get connected, and then it was like, okay, I'm not, and I was maybe a little, so I couldn't even drive for a while, and so I didn't connect at all, and I think so. Yeah. It was like I was scared to even just go to a practice, honestly, or put my skates on. And so I started just watching videos, and that's how I found you. It's just like watching videos. I was just like watching everybody else do derby, on repeat. Yeah. And then I was just really encouraged by, by your videos, and I reached out, and you responded to me, and you talked to me about like, hey, injury, and it gave me some encouragement, and it really, um, so I never even went to a practice or even thought, like until I started connecting with Crash Course and
So,
starting to do workouts.
so it sounds like Crash Course almost gave you that confidence of like, oh, I actually can go back.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And then like putting my skates on for the first time in my garage. And actually there was a class, I mean, not a class, but a live,
An intensive.
and that was the first time I put my skates on with other people, I mean, by myself, but also there were other people, and I felt safe to do it. And there were like, it was all online, but it was cool. And then from there, it just like took off.
Yeah. Well, and for anyone that's like listening, I think this is really common that like we come back from injury and initially we're like, how fast can I come back? And then as soon as the time comes to come back, it's like, oh God, I don't know if I'm like ready for this. And so it's like this push of like, oh, I'm so dying to come back. And then all of a sudden it's like all the fear, all the trauma, all the everything comes in. And then you realize like, oh man, okay. And then that's where like facing that fear really comes in.
Mm-hmm.
So can you walk us through like your return, like that progress over that 16 weeks of us working together? What were the pieces of that had you confident to go back? Because I think we talked to a lot of skaters that are injured and they're like, well, we'll come back to you after I'm like already in play again, after I've gone back to practicing and all of those things. So what were the things inside of that 16 weeks of Crash Course that actually built you up so that you felt ready again to play?
Well, I mean, some of it too was just like, I mean, I've been on this fitness journey for a little bit, in lots of different ways, but I had kind of gotten out of that. And so it was just like remembering like how to feed myself as an athlete, nutrition, protein, like I was like rebuilding my bones, and I needed to be like making sure I, had the right building blocks. And so that was just like review, but it was really helpful in those first couple of weeks. And that's really where the program kind of focuses, or it did for me. Just getting back to that and meal planning and putting myself in the center. I'm also a mom, busy, and so sometimes I don't do that. And so that was great. And then just getting into those daily workouts and feeling stronger, working on balance and off skate stuff, and then I think really right about that time, I also just reached out and like signed up, and I started going to check out Derby in Portland, and seeing the scene. And like, I don't know why it was so hard for me to, it was really hard for me to do that until I could see myself in it. I think that was what's going on.
And how was it once you were in it? How did you feel like once you got there? Did you settle in well? Did you kind of move pretty well into like contact and things like that?
No.
It's good for people to hear.
Well, also, I came from a smaller league, smaller towns. This was a whole big step up for me as well, and doing it after not being on skates for 6 months and stuff. So, but it was really great because I had the opportunity to just start really slow, and I had a coach through Crash Course who was like encouraging and like, this is your own timeline, and this is, and then also there was just some really great modules that I was learning about. Like this is it's not about finite, it's infinite. Like we're doing the long game. This is about being able to my love for Derby, and like in all those ways, it doesn't have to be this goal of like, this is what I'm going to do. It's like I'm going to get to the best that I can, and love it, and because that's the point of it all. So.
Yeah. And that's such a key piece. And I want people to hear that. We have this class inside a Crash Course called Finite and Infinite Games. And the whole concept is, are you playing the short game or the long game? And so, and both are important, right? Like there's times where we play the short game and there's times where we play the long game, but sometimes we play the wrong kind of game. And then it has us feeling really misaligned and frustrated. Like, are we playing the game of, I need to get back to practice? Or are we playing the game of, I want to be able to play roller derby for the next 5 or 10 years. And so if we put ourselves in the wrong game, then we end up rushing back. Whereas if we just simply shift the goal in the game, then it allows us to give ourselves the patience to build up slowly instead of trying to just hurry up just to get back just for the sake of getting back.
Right, for sure. And I think I was really like, hey, I need to get into full contact scrimmage. Strategy. I need to be in the, that's where I should be. That's where I was. And I want to be doing that right now. And Coach Juice being like, you know what, why? Why don't you take this slow? You've got all these, you actually have so much more opportunity now where you are to really learn all the little pieces and fill in the gaps. And so I did that. And that was great. I actually really, I learned so much and I slowed it down and I didn't have to put that pressure on myself. And I think that's probably the biggest change for me is right now I'm like, oh yeah, because I started to do it again recently when I was like, I'm totally cleared for full contact. And I was like, okay, I'm going to be in that. I'm going to get on the roster. And then I could have, I do all the eligibility and I could have, and I stopped myself for a minute. I was like, do I need to do that right this second? Or how about I get some more scrimmages under my belt so I feel really, comfortable. So it's like, I'm just doing it in a different way now. And
that's amazing. That's amazing. And I know that you had mentioned that you started doing some rehab and training for ankles and hips and things that made a big difference. Yeah. What changed for you on skates as we started working on some of the mobility and strengthening?
I don't think I really, this is embarrassing to say, but I don't even think I knew what my edges were. I learned just because also I'm deaf. And so, I really don't understand a lot of what's happening in practices. And so I was able to slow some things down and watch those the videos of the skating videos and really get clear on some stuff. So that, and then also just my hips were really weak. And so I have more ability to stop. I don't think I really, I'm a jammer, but I have to also be able to block, I would just fall over. And now I feel I'm oh wait, I can feel that. I can there's my edge. And so, yeah, I don't know if
No, that's great because I think so many skaters think that their edge work, I'm bad at my edges because I don't have good skate skills. When really, I think for most skaters, the reason why they're bad at their edges is because they don't have hip mobility, they don't have single leg balance or the ability to change direction. And so once you start getting really, really solid off skates, right, doing the mobility, doing the strength work, then all of a sudden the on skate skills get better. So I'm glad you mentioned that because I think that's something, especially as a skater returning, right? Because it's not just that you've been off skates, it's that you have not been doing a lot of exercise. And so your muscles, your stability, all that stuff has to come back. And so if you can help yourself out by doing it off skates, then once you get back on skates and come back, that ramping up period before you actually went set you up so much more so that when you got there, you could be more steady, be more safe, and then ultimately be more confident as you went.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. Yeah, I've been a part of other really focused exercise programs, and they've been great. They've been really great in my life. But what I was missing is having the derby focus, so they really understand what muscles I really need to be working on and what skills I'm trying to do. And so that's been a huge benefit.
Awesome. And then you had mentioned that your nutrition changed a bit. You thought you knew nutrition. What changed for you once it was sport specific focused? What were the things that shifted?
When I need to be, and I'm still learning all this stuff, but really when I needed to be really focusing on the protein and when and hydrating before and during, when I'm doing taking days off, was really important. I wasn't really, I wasn't making that a plan, or I would not rest enough and not hydrate during really intense workouts. Sometimes I'm at a practice for 4 hours and I would I wasn't preparing for that. So I'm doing a lot better with that.
Amazing. Yeah. And like you said, I think something that you said was really important is you said what we taught you wasn't necessarily something new, but it was the fundamentals. And it's funny because like I've heard this from like random deep dark places on like trolls on the internet. They're like, Chrissy Crash just teaches you to eat protein. And I'm like, well, we all know it, but if you're not doing it, like what's happening that you're not doing it? So what was the shift for you? Like, was it the accountability around it? Was the awareness of it? Like, what had you actually start doing it?
Yeah, I'm thinking sometimes you think that you're doing it, but then when you have to write it down, you're like, I'm not doing it, you know? And so like, I think that was a big awareness for me is like, yeah, I really wasn't timing my meals in the best way to support my body, you know? And so
just kind of like winging it.
yeah. And so writing it down really helped for a bit. And it's a tool I can always go back to. You know, it's not like I do it all the time. I don't like log every meal or anything, but like that I can go back to that when I need to. So yeah, it's good.
Yeah. And I think that's a really good distinction too, is there's a very big difference between weighing and measuring every ounce of your food and like just being aware of what you're putting in your body without being a psychopath about it, right? Like being able to, okay, I'm going to plan out ahead of time what I'm like ideally going to eat to make sure that I'm getting enough nutrients versus like, I'm going to eat this baby carrot and then put it into this meal tracker, right? It's like just creating the awareness around it, not like the crazy like tracking.
Well, that and the other thing was like about habits versus lifestyle change, you know, and I think I'm definitely still in the building the habits phase, but I'm noticing that like where I'm going with that like this is that I don't have to think about it all the time, you know, and it's becoming more lifestyle.
Yep, 100%. And that first 16 weeks of Crash Course really is like the habit building phase, right? That's doing the thing long enough that you're starting to get it right. And it sounds like you've walked out the door with that, which is so awesome. And so now the goal is shifting to lifestyle, which is doing the thing long enough that you can't imagine getting it wrong. And some of that comes from just consistency over time. Some of it comes from then learning, how do I now take these systems like planning my meals and continue to make them easier for myself? How do I learn to trust my body more in the process? So that's sort of like the next phase of things that you can start thinking about. Awesome. So, and then what was it?
Oh, one of the big benefit of like of making myself do the meal planning, you know, was like, oh my gosh, this helps me. It's helping my family, you know, to have food all ready to go that I can put meals together. It helped them too. And my 16-year-old daughter is watching me, you know. So, yeah, it's
and not like crazy like meal prepping stuff into little boxes, right? Just having the awareness of like, what are we planning for dinners this week? And maybe planning to chop some veggies or something ahead of time, but not necessarily like pre-making everything, right?
Exactly. That's kind of how I modified it for me, just because I'm feeding multiple people. So we would just have the things ready that we can put together.
Yeah. Awesome. Cool. So what was it like working with Coach Juice? Was that something that, so you said you'd worked with coaches before. What was it like working with Coach Juice versus like other things you'd done in the past?
You know, as I said, those experiences were really great too. This was because it was so Derby specific, and also having someone that was like checking in with me. I haven't heard from you. Hey, you know, accountability. She was great with that, and I may have needed that sometimes. And one of the things that was really great too is when I finally, like, we would talk about what I was doing, but then I was like, and she had asked for this, but I hadn't done it. And somewhere in the middle, maybe I should have done it sooner, but I sent some videos of what I was actually doing, and it was like,
yes,
oh, okay, here, I got you. This is what we're gonna do, and it changed my program so much by like actually seeing. Like, I wasn't, you know, really, my Derby stance needed a little help. And she could see that and know that and like support me with that. And it's like, it's been really great. So I've shared that with other people that are in the program, and, you know, like do that. It's like, it's really great. So
those form and footage reviews are like so important. So for those of you guys who are listening, in Crash Course, all of our clients can send in like form and footage reviews. So like whether it's just something from practice, whether it's a scrimmage, whether it's just working on an exercise at home. So because I think a lot of times at practices, it's sometimes hard to get that one-on-one attention or to like ask someone to help you with something after practice. So like having someone that you're literally like your job is literally to help me get better at roller derby. Here's videos of me, tell me how to do it better. And so you were able to take that and then get that like coaching, and with Juice understanding like how the body works, how the body moves. She was able to help know what she needed to help you strengthen and things like that in order to start getting your derby stance better.
Absolutely.
And how is it now?
I'm on my road. I'm on the way, it's good. I feel like really a lot of it was just like, when I'm in practices, I don't get that individual feedback as much. And so, and sometimes I'm just trying to like take it all in and understand what's happening and all that. So this is like a place where I could really get that personal feedback. So yeah, I think it's.
And how are you feeling now? Like if you think about where you're at now with your skating compared to like when you started, how are you feeling? What do you feel like has gotten stronger?
Well, let's see. Everything. I mean, even before the injury, I mean, like, I feel like I'm back, but I'm better than when I got injured, for sure. Like I have, I know actually more what to ask. And like, I feel like when I'm in practices, like it's all just coming faster for me. And also I just feel a lot more confident. I'm speaking up for myself. Like I like, if I don't understand something, things that I wasn't really doing before. And, because I'm just hungry for wanting to, like, I want to get this, and I want to play. I want to bout. I'm just excited. So yeah.
Oh, so awesome. It's so inspirational. I think so many injured skaters need to hear this, that like you can come back from it. What if you were to give advice to anyone listening to this that's maybe just had an injury or is getting ready to come back to derby? Like what would you say to them? What would be your words of wisdom? Or
So I say for folks that like are on the struggle bus with injury, and like doing your physical therapy and doing your stuff, and like knowing that there's a light at the end of the tunnel. You're gonna get there, and then starting to do what you can do. Like it's not your whole body. And so I think, it's like, I think that was one of the things that I didn't do. And I would say, like, if you broke your arm, work on your legs, like keep going, and find support and connect with other people. It's really
awesome. Cool. We're so proud of you, Pippi. It's been so just beautiful watching you come back. And I'm so proud of you for being willing to do the work ahead of time so that you could be ready when you came back. And so like, that's the goal, right? Is not just to come back where you were at, but to come back better so that you can build more momentum faster now that you're back. So congratulations, my friend. You've put in the work over this last 16 weeks and it's paying off. It's just the beginning. It's so awesome. I want everyone that is listening to this to hear this clearly. Like coming back from injury is not about speed. Right? It's about trust. It's trust in your body, trust in your plan, trust in your timeline. And I think Pippi's story really shows what happens when you stop rushing and you really start rebuilding with intention. So if you are returning from injury, if you're feeling disconnected, if you're scared that you've lost it, just know like you're not broken. You can come back. Pippi's story is an amazing example of that. You just need structure that's going to protect your long game. Okay. So if you want some help with that, there's a link in the show notes. You can get a free strategy session. One of our coaches can look at where you're getting stuck, your game plan for coming back, because life is a contact sport, right? We're just here to train you how to win. So thank you guys so much for listening. It really means a lot to us that you take this time every single week to join us. And thank you so much, Pippi, for taking the time to share your story. Such an inspiration to injured skaters everywhere. And I'm just so excited to celebrate you as you move up the ranks at Rose City.
Thank you so much.
All right, you guys, we'll see you in the next episode. Bye.